Hi, this is Survivor from Scrappy Mania, and today I'm going to show you the second part of my video, or the video before this. I showed you how to take an image from this book, so one of these flower image, and I taught you how to use your Photoshop your Photoshop editing software to create like a cut file, like you see here. And I call it a cut file. I know it's not really a cut file, but to create something like this, and where you can cut these out and cut out layers of the flowers, and then you can put those layers together to create like this three-dimensional flower. So if you see this three-dimensional flower is actually this flower, which I laid this piece on top, and then the final piece was that. And then this flower, you'll see in a second in my layout itself, in where I layered this flower on top of this flower to produce a nice little flower. And then these are some, the last, in my tutorial I showed you how to create this flower. And that flower was created, let me see, and I've been having fun with my Photoshop, Photoshop program, and with this lovely little book, Flowers and Fruits. I bought this actually at Amazon. It was pretty reasonable. I think it was only like 13 bucks. And because I'm on Prime, it's free shipping for me. So it was great investment. Full color illustrations. So $184. And I only use like, let's see, 1, 2, 3 images. Out of that, 4 images, and I created a lot of flowers, so you can see here, and then I still have all these other flowers that I could cut out and create. So I use this. So then I also got my new Anna Griffin embossing folder. HSN had a special, and she had the Cuddle Bug with 23 embossing folders, and a lot of the layouts as she was presenting, I love the layouts and what she did with those embossing folders. So then I decided to try my technique. If any of you know Anna Griffin, she kind of does very nice layouts. As you can see, they're elegant, they're very sophisticated with a lot of flowers, a lot of bow. The colors are just gorgeous. So I inspired by her art and her creativity, I decided to create a layout. So that's why I created the three-dimensional flowers. And then I took this one is called Poppy. So I took her embossing folders and I created a whole page with her embossing folder. So let me go ahead and show you that. I'm going to speed up the video, and I'm going to show you the technique that I use in order to create this layout. Okay, so now I'm using the Cuddle Bug, and I'm going to show you how I created that piece of paper. So what I did is I used my A plate, and then I took my folder, and here I'm just using a scrap because I'm just showing you how I did it. So I took a paper, it was 5 by 12 or 5 by 10. So I took a 5 by 10 and I placed it in the embossing folder. And then I turned it around and I matched up the other piece with the from that strip of paper because it was a 5 by 10. And then I lined it up. And I did the same thing. So I'm showing you here how I kind of did it. The same way I do it on this small little strip of paper is the same way I did it for the 5 by 10. Now that strip of paper is actually 10 inches long. So I kind of matched it up like you see there. And then I ran it again through the other side, through my Cuddle Bug. And that's how you create a longer strip of embossing paper. So then when I created a long strip, see I have like, I'm showing you there that I created 2 pieces and they were 5 by 10. So I took one piece, placed it down, took the next piece, I put it next to it, and then I took my strips and I framed out the 10 by 10 like you see there. So what I did is I took those two pieces and then I matched them up on the corner, like you see there. And then I took my ruler and I mitered the corner by slicing it from corner to corner. Now I'm having a little difficulty here because I didn't really tape it all the way down. But on your project, you're going to make sure you tape it all the way down on your base page or your cardstock. And that's how you create that nice mitered corner. So now I'm going to show you the process that I did. So I took my that base page and I glue all of my strips down. So I'm making the mitered corner, as you can see there. Okay, so once I made it, I went ahead and used some adhesive, and actually I'm using regular liquid glue because I have embossing. The embossing, it gives a little bit of dimension to your page. So if you use regular dot adhesive or even the ATG gun was not gluing it to the page as I would have liked it to be. So that's why I use some adhesive. Now here I'm cutting my page a little bit smaller than, but it should be about 10 by 10. So then when I put it on my page, I really thought it needed something else. I'm still cutting it a little bit. So it needed something else. After I put it together, I took this Martha Stewart scallop edge punch and I punch out 4 strips. Now those strips measure 1 inch, and by the time you cut it down with the punch, it's actually a little less than 1 inch. So I put some of my ATG glue, and I went ahead and taped this border across all my edges. So then after I taped it down, I went ahead and mitered the corner and just cut it out with my scissors, a nice rounded edge, as you can see there. So now after I did that, I went ahead and put some of my liquid glue on the back of that page, and then I just placed it on my layout, as you can see there. So I'm showing you the flowers that I use, and these doilies were made with a die that I got out at a local scrapbooking store, not a chain, but a regular mom and pop scrapbooking store. I'm using Anna Griffin lace stamp. Now that I found it at Hobby Lobby. And I'm just basically just putting adhesive on 3 sides, and I'm backing it with that pearlescent cardstock. So what I did is I measured the frame after the frame was actually 8 by 10, something like that, or 7 by 10. And then after I stamped it, I cut the lace form out, and then I backed it. Then I measured the pearlescent cardstock just to make sure that the size were just right. So I'm going to place my doilies 1 in each opposite corner and making sure that I hear it well on my page. I don't want it being pulled away. And then that transparent doily is actually leftover wax paper. So if you have an intricate die, use some wax paper between the paper and the die, and it helps release the cutout. So, but in this instance, I used it as part of my page. So now I'm just going through my flowers, kind of to figure out which flowers I'm going to place where. And that one I wanted to place it kind of underneath my frame. And then this one is going to be on the side of my frame. So now I think I'm ready to put some adhesive. And before I place it out, I make sure that the opening was on top of the frame. So that's why I had to turn it around. So I'm creating like little bouquets of flowers. And I'm using a lot of white flowers with a little bit of the red flowers to kind of give it some pop. And then I'm also using some individual roses that I created. And most of these roses have some foam adhesive in the back to kind of bring it up on the page. So my layout is starting to take some form here. And that's why it's a good idea to kind of cut a lot of flowers, and that way you have them to fill in the gaps. Now I'm going to use this little label, and that's an Anna Griffin stamp. So I'm going to use my watercolor paint with my aqua pen, and I'm just coloring the rose, and I'm also coloring the outside of the frame. So then I'm going to dry this with my heat tool because I'm impatient. I didn't want to wait until it's dry. So I'm drying it quickly with my heat tool because it was still a little damp. And now I'm just going to place some liquid adhesive and place it down. That bow is made with Martha Stewart ribbon that I bought a long time ago at Big Lots. So now I'm just placing a glue dot in order to place it on my layout. And then these butterflies was from a butterfly stamp that I got a long time ago, and it's from Hero Arts. And I also use my watercolor paint to color these. And I also use my homemade glimmer glam. I create my own kind of sparkly glitter solution or paint, and that's what I use for the butterflies. So now I have this label, and it spells precious. So once I placed it down, I felt like it needed something, but I try to put some of my butterflies and my flowers. I even try to put a lacy circle that you see there underneath it, and it just didn't appeal to me. So at the end, what I did is I got some pearls, adhesive pearls, and those are the ones I use. I put 3 pearls on the corner, and that made a difference. So I'm done with my page. So I'm giving you a close-up look at all the embellishments and techniques that I did. There's my butterflies and my bow. And then there's my little label. This is part of Anna Griffin stamp. And with the 2 little pearls, my other bouquet. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And please leave a comment and let me know if there's anything you would like me to, any other technique you'd like me to show or expand on. And I really appreciate your watching my videos and your subscription. And thank you for watching. Bye now.